If DWP or HMRC have been asking you questions like, what did you spend your last £3.84 on? And they've been requesting bank statements from you and asking you not to cross out your account number and your sort code, let me tell you something. You've been lied to. They do not need your bank statements to know whether or not you are on the right benefit. What this is these government departments quietly working away together in something which they call the Connect system. And this Connect system runs far and wide into other countries as well, all over Europe. So the information they've been requesting from you, they already have and they can already see. So why are they asking you for your bank statements? And should you be worried about what's going on behind the scenes with this new Connect system? Now, there are only going to be some things I can actually say here. Everything I'm going to say is in the public domain, and I'm going to be showing you that. And the reason why I have to say that is I used to work for the Department of Work and Pensions, and I've taken legal action against them. So there are certain things that I cannot discuss. So what's happening right now is DWP are asking you for information so they can learn about behaviour patterns. This is all part of data matching, and it is all something that they are quietly analysing along with a computerised system called the Connect system. So when they ask you for your bank statements, this is not about details. It's about checking whether or not you're remaining compliant and testing your response, not clarification of how much money is in your bank. Now, before I go into the deep, dark depths of this, I'm just going to highlight to you that I was actually dismissed from the Department of Work and Pensions after I took legal action against them on a disability discrimination claim. What then miraculously happened days after me making that claim was that some kind of AI generated report stated that I was logged into a system when I was standing in the sea 10 minutes from my house. This is the danger of letting AI security systems monitor people's data. And it's got even worse because apparently some of these systems are currently being hosted in some of the most risky data security countries of the world. Now, a lot of this comes down to what is called the Public Authorities Fraud, Error and Recovery Bill. But as you will see as we read through this bill, the powers within this bill go even further. Now, right now, it is currently not law for DWP to force you for certain pieces of information like your bank statements, but very shortly it's going to become law because we are at the third reading, which means we are very, very close to this bill being passed before royal assent, as we can see here, and then becoming completely legal, which means you will be legally mandated to do certain things which you might not be happy with doing. And if you're not happy with doing that, then they're going to have rights to certain actions. So let's have a little look at this. And by the way, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting that notifications bell so you can get my recent content when it comes out. And thank you for sharing my channel out to help other people reduce their anxiety, reduce all of the things they are feeling right now with all of these massive changes that are going on. Now, my biggest issue, I think, with a lot of this is that this has been done very, very discreetly behind the scenes, and it's all being landed in front of people. And the reason for that is because of this bill, obviously, which has not been passed, but it's making lots of people very, very anxious. Which is why, in my opinion, it would have been better for DWP to have informed the general public in particular about what they're doing, instead of just leaving a little fact sheet on their website for people to mull through. Now, I have gone into this before, which talks all about what the bill does, and if you have not watched this video, I am going to link it for you down below. But what's really important here is that not only has this bill given the government the right for up to 12 years, so that's more than a decade, to take action, preventing the time period for claims against some fraudsters ending potentially as early as March 2026. But when you look at the personal charter, which this relates to, it's really, really very scary, because data protection principles only work well if they are used lawfully, fairly, and in a transparent way. And as I've already said, the fact that I've taken nearly 3 years of my life to defend myself against a completely, in my opinion, baseless allegation with data that does not have my name on, that does have absolutely nothing at all on this data that identifies me as being me, was used not only to fire me, but also is something that DWP are trying to, let's just say, force a very heavy costs bill for. So where your data is, who has access to it, and who has the right to change that data by using certain systems is something, if I was you, I would be very, very concerned about. Now, let's just say you're me and you work for an organisation like DWP, and you're disabled like I am, and you realise that they haven't done something they should have done because of your disability, so perhaps didn't follow their own disability policies, which is exactly what happened in my situation. And let's just imagine for a moment that part of the way they're going to get themselves out of that is then accusing that disabled person, and at this point I am not saying that that is what they have done, let's just say they've accused that person of doing something or accessing data that they shouldn't have done so, based on a report that an AI bot has created. And if we scroll down here, we can see a large piece which says DWP uses artificial intelligence to help deliver efficient and effective services and to help detect and prevent fraud and error. We take appropriate steps to obtain assurance that our use of AI meets data protection requirements. Well, that is a question that remains, I believe, to be determined, because DWP have been asked to reveal the algorithm behind the use of their AI system, which they haven't yet done. DWP does not use AI to replace human judgment to determine or deny a payment to a claimant. And then it goes on to automated decision making. DWP uses automated processing in some decision making to help us deliver efficient services. DWP will not make any decision based solely on automated processing, which has a significant effect on you unless the law allows this to do so. But then, as I have stated, that depends how things have been presented, because everything is subjective when you are using data from an AI system as your basis of source. Now let's get on to the concerning part of the bank statements. And on this same page, which is all about DWP's data charter, we're going to have a little look here, not only about DWP are intending to start wearing body cameras. I just think this is insane. And I have to say, from somebody that has worked in the job centre, that has dealt with people from all sorts of things, having mental health breakdowns, coming out of prison, people coming in after having horrific traumatic incidences, being victims of horrific incidences and all sorts of other things. I actually do not agree wearing a body camera. Obviously, if you are a security guard or something else, that is completely different. But it's very difficult to help sometimes very vulnerable people if you've got a camera or you're sticking a camera in their face. So that's something that I'm not particularly a fan of. I agree that obviously there does need to be CCTV cameras and that sort of thing, obviously, but I'm not too sure about that. So the types of data that DWP will use, and this again is critically quite astounding. The types of data that DWP process and people will depend on the contact that DWP has with them. But let's just have a look at the types of data that DWP is going to be processing. Now, this has already started, but personal details, obviously, family, lifestyle and social circumstances, financial details, employment and education details. Sensitive information that includes physical or mental health details, sexual life. Why? Why? Why is that relevant? I mean, I don't know. Genetic data, biometric data, offences, criminal proceedings, and then who DWP holds information about. Members of the public, customers and claimants, people who live in the customers or claimants household, suppliers and service providers, advisors, consultants. All of this is relatively, standard, I would say. And then here comes the next little crux. How DWP shares information about you. So through other government departments and local authorities, social security organisations in other countries as well. Let's just know as well in other countries. Employers and potential employers. Social landlords, utility companies, energy suppliers, providers of communication, such as telephone companies and internet service providers. Now, I don't agree with that at all. I do not agree with them having access to what? All of the phone numbers you've called, all of the websites you may have visited, TV licensing, financial institutions such as banks and other organisations that may lend you money, and credit reference agencies. So we can see that pretty much DWP, because of this new bill, are going to have access to pretty much everything. Who you are, where you live, how you spend your money, down to who you have sex with. I just think it's just getting a little bit, no one's got any privacy. There's just no privacy anymore. Now, lots of you have been asking me, how long can DWP keep your data for? And why are they asking you for bank statements that have for 9 years? I do not understand why they would be needing to ask for bank statements that are 9 years old. And here it even says here that they can request, they can keep your information for up to 6 years, okay? But I'm also going to bring in here, obviously, data protection principles and GDPR as well. And this might be a good point to talk about one of the successes of the Justice Journal's subscriber, the Ghost Watcher Keeping It Real, who says, I'm just going to try blowing this up a little bit so you guys and girls can see it really clearly. I stood up to the housing department of the council. My daughter has had a 5-year cancer battle. Sorry to hear that. And it's caused our circumstances to change. I am taking care of my daughter. I have been told without 5 months of bank statements, they will close my homeless application for me and my family. I gave them the statements, just reducted my sort code, account number, just had the universal credit payment and daughter disability payment, and showed how much was in my bank. I reducted all the transactions and recorded them for willful neglect. They said, we are not accepting this. So I said, here is my name, address of where we are temporarily staying, and asked, why do you need my sort code and account number? When they said, and I think that says, and then they said we do. I said, under what legislation? Again, always ask for the function. I have just had it upheld with the Information Commissioner's Office failure to process fair data. I think that's failure to process data fairly is in actual fact what this person means. So the message is, don't let these minions get away with it. I have now taken my win to the Housing Ombudsman, and I hope you get a very nice payout as well. It is honestly, I think this is where, as a country, we're becoming ruthlessly untapped. If you have a parent who's in a homeless shelter with a child who has cancer, should we not be showing more remorse here? Should we not be showing more... sorry, not remorse is the wrong word. Should we not be showing more passion and more support? Why would anybody in their right mind want to put somebody already in quite a vulnerable situation respectfully into a more like highly stressed situation when they're not even going to have, money to feed themselves? I just think if we've got all of these systems, okay, I understand the element of fraud is good. The element of error is good. But what about remaining humane? What about having systems that are going to stop people being put through relentless, targeted battles because a stupid bloody system, quite frankly, got something wrong? What about that? Anyway, let's get on to the next part. Now, lots of you have been asking me about not having any faith in DWP. 100% understand that, totally get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to share anything with them anyway. But let's just say you have. Let's just say you've been on universal credit, or let's just say you've been on another benefit, and that has now come to an end. You don't want them to have your data anymore. You're very worried about all of these changes that are happening next month, November 2025, mandatory, I might add, already been happening for quite a few years. What can you do to try and limit the amount of information or data, your personal data, being fed in and harboured and harvested and stored in these massive systems which are all over the place, all over the world? Let me help you out with that. And again, this is not legal advice, but this is, if I was in your position, I would be doing this. I would be writing a letter, and I would be requesting under Article 17 of the GDPR Act the right to erasure of personal data. So you can ask the DWP to erase your data once your benefit claim has ended and there is no ongoing legal, audit or statutory reason for them to keep it. They might write back and say we can keep it for up to 6 years. Then you need to maybe log that date when your claim started and when that is going to finish, and get them to agree to that in writing. Because I think these are very concerning times, and in my next video I'm going to be showing you exactly how far this can go beyond what you thought was even possible. So hopefully this has been a really lovely video to help you be informed, help you have faith in yourself that, you do have some powers, you do have some elements of control, but always be very, very careful on the information you're giving to people, even government bodies, because when it's all being fed into a massive AI system, we just don't know where this information is going to end up and what can be done with it. So be mindful of that. Keep healthy, keep well, and stay blessed. Thank you guys. Goodbye.